Well, it's the end of an era. No, I don't mean the end of an era, the end of the era when only heterosexual couples could get married in every state of this country. Although it is certainly the end of that era also, with the Supreme Court's decision in the Obergefell versus Hodges case that was decided on Friday. And I don't mean the end of the era when only white people served as the Episcopal Church's presiding bishop, although with yesterday's election of Bishop Michael Curry, Bishop of the Diocese of North Carolina, it is certainly the end of that era as well. No, I mean a small end-of-era indicator, which may represent a truly big change for us as Christians. And maybe to me as a Lutheran, it seems more significant, but I'm sure you'll understand. I am a member of both Episcopal Church and ELCA Lutheran clergy groups on Facebook, and our discussions range from the sublime to the ridiculous. And occasionally, the ridiculous takes on overtones of the sublime. So, the end of May, around Memorial Day, the ELCA clergy began to vote on their favorite hymn. And you might say, these people are playing around with something that ultimately has no serious meaning, and I'm sure you'd be right. But it was fun. There were 4 brackets, and they included hymns like Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, O Come, Emmanuel, Praise to the Lord the Almighty, All Are Welcome, Beautiful Savior, hymns like that. Okay, so with each vote, the hymns kept getting more and more weeded out. They moved on to the next level. And I voted as often as I could on those days that votes were being accepted. They weren't accepted every day. And then yesterday, I saw it. Somehow I missed the final vote, but a winner had been chosen. And it wasn't the one that I would have anticipated. After all, A Mighty Fortress Is Our God was written by Luther and is almost the Lutheran anthem. I just saw Sandy wins. And it's also our Episcopal hymnal. It is. Okay. And these are, what did you say? It shows how open you are. Okay. I am going to read to you verses 1 and 3, and I want you to listen to the language. Here's verse 1. A mighty fortress is our God, a bulwark never failing. Our helper he amid the flood of mortal ills prevailing. For still our ancient foe doth seek to work us woe. His craft and power are great, and armed with cruel hate, on earth is not his equal. And verse 3. That word above all earthly powers, no thanks to them abideth. The Spirit and the gifts are ours, through him who with us sideth. Let goods and kindred go, this mortal life also. The body they may kill, God's truth abideth still. His kingdom is forever. Now don't get me wrong. I will always love this hymn on some level. And just reading the verses makes me feel warm inside. But the one that was chosen to be this year's clergy favorite has a different feel. It won the 58% of the vote, and you probably know it. It's called Canticle of the Turning. And it's a paraphrase of Mary's song of praise called the Magnificat, when she learns that she will be the mother of Jesus. So in comparison, here are a couple of verses from that hymn. Verse 1. My soul cries out with a joyful shout that the God of my heart is great. And my spirit sings of the wondrous things that you bring to the ones who wait. You fixed your sight on your servant's plight, and my weakness you did not spurn. So from east to west shall my name be blessed, could the world be about to turn. My heart shall sing of the day you bring, let the fires of your justice burn. Wipe away all tears, for the dawn draws near, and the world is about to turn. And here's verse 3. From the halls of power to the fortress tower, not a stone will be left on stone. Let the king beware, for your justice tears every tyrant from his throne. The hungry poor shall weep no more for the food they can never earn. There are tables spread, every mouth be fed, for the world is about to turn. My heart shall sing of the day you bring, let the fires of your justice burn. Wipe away all tears, for the dawn draws near, and the world is about to turn. That one's a rousing one just to read. And I don't mean to lift one up and put the other down, or to compare Mary's Magnificat in the book of Luke with Psalm 46, which is the text that A Mighty Fortress is based upon. But there's something interesting happening here, and I think our gospel text for today points us in that direction. The leader of the synagogue, named Jairus, loves his young daughter deeply, and he also knows that a girl child in that patriarchal society doesn't have much intrinsic value. We're told that he begs Jesus repeatedly to come and lay his hands on her so that she might be healed. And Jesus does go with him, but along the way, he's interrupted by another desperate person, a woman who has been bleeding heavily for what we're told is 12 years. The doctors have been unable to help her, and in continuing to search for a cure, she has spent every penny she has, but nothing has helped. She's probably weak, cold, faint, anemic. And she's also ritually unclean, according to the prohibition regarding blood from Leviticus 17, which says, if anyone of the house of Israel or of the aliens residing among them eats any blood, I will set my face against that person and will cut that person off from the people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you for making atonement for your lives on the altar. For as life, it is the blood that makes atonement. But this poor woman doesn't speak to Jesus initially. She's already internalized all the ritual cleanliness codes, and she creeps up to him, knowing that she might well be discovered and maybe pushed away. But she gets up her courage by saying to herself, if I only touch his clothes, I will be made well. Theologian Bruce Benson says about Mark's version of this story. This story also raises the interesting matter of faith. The woman reaches out covertly, anonymously in faith, not to manipulate, flatter, or impress Jesus into flipping on his grace of God switch for her. She obviously believed it was always on. And Jesus tells her, your faith has made you well, or whole. In Matthew's telling of the story, on the other hand, it is clearly Jesus' words, not the touch of the woman, that heals. She reaches out from the margins of society. She's not one who would ordinarily have the attention of a man with his reputation. But she believes that if she only touches his clothes, it will make all the difference. And it does. But if she thinks she can do it anonymously and make her escape, she finds out otherwise. It seems that Jesus knows the difference between a casual bumping up against him and the intentional touch out of faith that led to her healing. He calls her daughter and tells her to go in peace, shalom, wholeness. And she finds both the healing and the peace that had eluded her for so long. But then, it seems as if the apparent competition for Jesus' time has caused the little girl to lose out. The synagogue leader hears the tragic news, your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further? But Jesus steps up and tells her father, do not fear, but only believe. And in arriving at the man's house and pushing past the scoffers, he brings the blessing of life and wholeness to that family as well. So, two females, undervalued in a patriarchal society. We're told one has been sick for 12 years and the other is 12 years old. The number 12 often indicates Israel and its 12 tribes. These female persons created in God's image are now full participants in the promise Jesus is bringing to the new Israel. A mighty fortress speaks of God being a fortress, our strong help against the evil that we know too well infects the world. But there's also something about the hymn that seems to refer to insiders. The Spirit and the gifts are ours, through him who with us sideth. The potential pitfall lies in thinking that God is siding with us, rather than we who attempt to be on God's side. Now in comparison, Canticle of the Turning says, "You fixed your sight on your servant's plight, and my weakness you did not spurn. So from east to west shall my name be blessed, but the world be about to turn." In other words, you noticed me. You noticed when I was not very confident. You noticed when I tried to access your healing and strength, but to do it anonymously. You noticed me, although I was ritually unclean, or in the case of the young girl, you noticed me, although I was only a young girl loved by her father. Or in Mary's case, you noticed me, although I was only a young woman trying to discover and do the Word of God. Competition seems to ebb away as all are helped. The lowly are elevated. Those who had previously been overlooked are now noticed. The life is in the blood, only now it's the one who spends his life and compassion and blood on our behalf. The paradigm seems to be shifting. Where is the solid ground when all around us seems new, sometimes startlingly, sometimes scarily new? But the world be about to turn. What consoles us then and now are Jesus' words, "Go in peace. Do not fear, only believe."